won't waste another minute, no, I won't. I'm a man on a mission. I'm a man on a mission. I don't need no permission. I'm a man on a mission.
My first business lost $100,000 and I went bankrupt. And since, the businesses I've started have earned over $50 million in sales. And today I'm going to share with you the one investment I made to turn it all around. All right, so this week I'm headed out to San Diego to attend and speak at an e-commerce mastermind group. I've been in this group for several years. It's called Blue Ribbon, and it's a collection of e-commerce entrepreneurs that on average do about $15 million a year in sales, but some businesses are in the 70, 80 million, and there's a couple in there that are doing over $100 million a year. So we've got an amazing group of smart executives and entrepreneurs coming together. I've got the privilege to speak to them, and I thought it was a really amazing opportunity to just take you guys along for the ride, bring you behind the scenes, and use this conference, this event as a forum to share with you the number one investment I've made that has allowed me to make $50 million in my businesses after I started and lost everything and had to go bankrupt. So the number one lesson I've learned through my entrepreneurial journey is no one is born an entrepreneur. No one is born with any specific skills or leadership ability or financial acumen. When we get started, we genuinely don't know what we were doing. And that was the case for me. Growing up, I had no real financial or business advice or counsel. To be honest with you guys, I grew up in a very humble beginning. You know, my parents did the absolute best that they could, but my dad was a logger. He literally cut down trees for a living. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom until things got so tough that she had to go back to work and find odd jobs and clean houses to try to help us make ends meet. You know, growing up, there was just a lot of financial pressure and stress in my life. And the one thing I knew was when I got older, I never wanted to have to deal with that same type of financial stress. And so as I was growing up, I decided, I'm going to figure this game out. I'm going to learn how to make money. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And for the first 5 years of my adult life, from 20 to 25, I worked all sorts of crazy jobs trying to figure out what I wanted to do, from door-to-door home security sales to different sales positions, mortgages, real estate. I was all over the place trying to figure out how to make my way in the world. And ultimately, I decided I wanted to start my own business. I wanted to create my own financial security, my own freedom for myself. I wanted to build a life on my terms. Like I said, the first business I started, I lost $100,000 all on credit. I had a $50,000 loan over here, $50,000 in credit cards over here, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I just threw it all in and took massive action because I thought the way that you be successful is to just jump off the cliff and learn how to fly on the way down. I had a lot of conviction. I had a lot of passion, but I had no skills and I had zero experience. And I learned my first very painful lesson in business when I lost everything. And an attorney at the age of 23 was like, hey, dude, you're just a young kid. Just file bankruptcy and start over. It's not going to hurt you in the long run. I didn't know any better. So that's what I did. And after that moment took place, I really struggled for several years. I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I was trying to find my way. And ultimately, I decided that I wanted to learn how to make money online. I wanted to become an entrepreneur, and I wanted to work online so I could create the freedom to live my life how I wanted. And I came up with this idea, but I knew I didn't have any skills, and I was fucking broke. I remember having a negative bank account balance, right? And it was the first of the month, and I was like, oh my gosh, overdraft fees. And I log into my account, and it's like overdraft, 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 overdraft. At one point, I was so negative in my checking account that I didn't even know if I would ever be able to get back to even. What I'm gonna tell you guys today, it's relevant no matter where you're at. No matter if you're an 8 or 9 figure entrepreneur like the guys I just spoke to, or if you're literally just getting started and you don't even have $100 to invest. I've been on both sides of this, and I can tell you this one investment that I made to turn everything around, it works for you and it works for everyone. So at my lowest point, like I said, I knew that I wanted to create a business, but I had no idea how to do it. And so I went out and I got a job that I hated simply so I could earn enough money to pay my bills and invest everything else into my education. The one thing that I knew was other people were successful and they had skills that I didn't. And it wasn't even like I consciously made that connection. It was just like, I don't know what to do, but there's people out there that do, and I need to buy like a book or a training course or a marketing. Like I need to learn from people that are already doing what I want to do. And I didn't have any money, so I went and got a job and I worked my fucking ass off. And every dollar I made above and beyond my bills for 18 months, I spent all of it on training programs, online courses, books, everything I could. And I was trying different things and learning different marketing strategies and skills. And, I was diligently working, but nothing was working for me. And fast forward, it was December 2010. I remember it like it was yesterday. I had been at this for about a year and a half. I'd bought a lot of courses. I literally had no money because I was investing everything that I could make above my bills into training programs. And I just felt like my mindset was holding me back. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't know that it was going to be possible. And so at one point in time, I bought an audiobook from Tony Robbins. This is back in the day when the books were on CDs, and I was listening to it in my car to and from work every day. And I was working on trying to develop my mindset. And I really loved the stuff that Tony was talking about. And I wanted more of that type of content. And so I said, I'm not going to buy any more marketing programs. I need to invest into this mindset, the psychology. I need to figure out how to get rid of these limiting beliefs. And I went online and I just started Googling around. And to be really honest with you guys, I found one of those websites where you can download shit illegally for free. And there was a bunch of Tony Robbins materials on there that you could just download and steal. And I stopped and I thought about it and I was like, I'm going to download this shit, but it's not free. I'm going to get this on loan because I don't feel right about downloading someone's stuff for free, but I don't have any money right now. I can't pay for this, but there was something inside of me that was like, I really love what this guy has to say, and I'm just going to dive into his stuff any way I can, and I'll pay him back later. And so that day I made a commitment. I said, I'm going to download this, and I'm going to go through it. I'm going to work on my mind and my psychology. And in the future, once my business is making money, I'm going to buy all of these courses at full price. For that month of December in 2010, I said, I'm not working on my business. All I'm doing is going through this program. And I was going through the program every day and I was taking notes and I was doing the exercises. And there's this one exercise he has you do where you basically look at the rules, the values, and beliefs that you have. You see, all of us, we have different values that we want to live our life by. And at this time in my life, my number one value was freedom and money and success. That's all I cared about. I'm 25 years old. I'm a young kid. I'm just trying to figure out how to make it. And so I was like, that's my number one value. Okay, well, what's my rule for success? What has to happen in order for me to be successful? And it was like my vision, my dream was to make enough money working online to live on the beach. So my rule was very simple. I will be successful when I make enough money to live on any beach that I want. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to make it happen. But every day I woke up, I was in this shitty studio apartment with no fucking windows, sleeping on a mattress on the floor. And I'd get really, really excited. And then I would just be like, I'm a fucking failure. I'm a loser. This is never going to work out. And I would created this just emotional wave that I was riding where I'd amp myself up and I'd work hard, but no results were coming in. And then I would just lose the belief in myself. And it was like a no man's land for me. And if you've ever tried to achieve or achieved something, there's this period in time where nothing seems to be working, where you're scared shitless and you're putting energy and effort out and you don't know if it's going to work. Man, I was there. I was in no man's land. And so I start going through this program with Tony and I realize my rules and values are all fucked up. If my value is freedom and success and I'm only ever going to get there when I'm at the beach or when I'm in this final destination, I'm never going to actually create it because it's the chicken or the egg. What comes first? And so working through this program, I started to redefine a lot of the values and the rules I had about my life. And this is probably one of the most powerful lessons I've learned is we all have rules of what has to happen for us to feel a certain way. And oftentimes it's the very rule that's holding us back from feeling that way. And we can consciously redefine the rule. Now, I know I said I'm going to tell you guys the most important investment you'll ever make, and I know this is a business thing, but what I'm going to tell you guys in a little bit is all of your success in business starts with your psychology. It starts with your mindset. And that's what I realized. Even I couldn't explain it to you like this back then. It was just an intuition that I had, but I knew I needed to work on my mind because I was developing some skills, but it was the mindset and the psychology that was holding me back. So I go through this program and I start to redefine everything. And I remember it like it was yesterday because it changed my life. My rule for success changed very subtly. It went from I will be successful when I can work from any beach in the world, i.e., in your studio apartment, you're never going to be successful, to every day I wake up and intentionally work on building my business, I am a success. Think about the mind shift that takes place in that. I'm only going to be successful when I can live on a beach versus I'm successful every day I get up and work on my business. I gave myself all of the power, all of the energy, all of the certainty back. Right now, telling you guys, I literally get goosebumps because I feel it like it was yesterday. It's so vivid in my mind. That was a shift in my life. That was a breakthrough that happened, a moment in time where my life has never been the same again. And it happened because I was investing into me, into my mindset, because I allotted the time to step back from the chaos of life and held myself accountable to sit down and do the work required to grow myself, to reflect on who I was and where I was at, and to improve myself in the way that I thought about things. Here's what's crazy. I worked for 18 months around the clock. Literally, my job during the day had me working from 6 a.m. until 3 p.m. So I got up super early, I worked my day job, and then as soon as I got off, I went home, I ate, and I worked on my business until I could not keep my eyes open, and I fell asleep. I was working 16, 18-hour days some days, and I did that for 18 months straight, and I made $0 online. And when I reflect back on that, it was my psychology that held me back the entire time because I was thinking about things in all the wrong way. I had all the wrong rules and all the wrong beliefs. And by shifting those around, I was able to change everything. In January, I met this guy named Joe Polish, who, if you're in the marketing community, you'll know he's a very successful entrepreneur. I met him at the gym of all places, and I had the courage to go up to him and introduce myself and get to know him. And I was telling him a little bit about my story and what I was trying to do. And he invited me to come to a conference. He said, hey, I'm hosting this marketing conference in California, and you can come as my guest. The challenge was, even though I didn't have to pay for the conference, I was fucking broke, and I could not afford the hotel, or I could not afford the plane ticket. I looked at things and I was like, okay, if I don't pay this bill and I ask my landlord if I can pay rent a little bit late, I can get enough money to buy a plane ticket, but I still didn't have enough money for a hotel. And so I asked a friend and I borrowed a few $100 and I stayed in the shittiest Motel 6 you've ever seen in your life on some random fucking street in LA. And I went to this conference and there was one idea at this conference that changed everything for me. And I paired that shift in mindset of I'm successful every day I work on my business with this one specific marketing technique. You see, at this time, I was doing all sorts of Facebook advertising and I was trying to do SEO and blogging and all these things and nothing was working. And I had been working on this Facebook marketing strategy that was almost getting there, but it wasn't working. I was losing money with it and I was spending $10 a day on advertising. And that was a lot. That was scary to me at the time. Now we routinely spend tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on Facebook ads. And that's just the way of doing business. Back then, I heard this one idea from this guy named Bedros Gillian. He shared a one specific Facebook tactic that he was using. And I was like, that's it. That's what I needed. I went home. I put that one tweak into place. And over the next 2 weeks, I made $10,000. Changed my fucking life. Again, I get goosebumps thinking about it because I can remember it like it was yesterday. That was a moment in time where I knew my life would never be the same again. And it was only possible because first I put in the work on my mind and I recorrected some of my beliefs and my ideas and the things that I knew were holding me back, those limiting beliefs that there was just this part of me that I knew that was stopping me from what I wanted. But I still didn't have all the skills yet. And going to this event, I got one idea and it unlocked everything for me. And then that started to be a catalyst. And I started to continue to learn and grow and try and invest into myself, new programs, new courses. And next thing you know, it was $10,000 in a month, $20,000 in a month, $50,000 in a month. It just kept compounding. And it was only possible because I invested into myself. That's why I know in my story, in my belief, in every other entrepreneur I've ever talked to, the number one investment you will ever make is in yourself. I want to talk to you guys about the investments that we make into ourselves because I'm sitting in here in front of you. I just told you that my business has done over $50 million in sales. The only reason why that's possible is through self-education, through surrounding myself around other like-minded people, paying for events, buying courses, going to masterminds, and investing the excess that I'm making in my business into myself. That's why I wholeheartedly believe, I know with every fiber in my being, that the number one investment we will ever make is into ourself. Now we have to know what part of ourself we need to invest in, right? I think first and foremost, we need to invest into our psychology, into our mindset. But beyond that, we need to develop skills. I think the success that you want, the results that you want to create in your life, they're on the other side of the skills that you need to develop. First thing we got to do is give ourselves the right mindset, the right character traits, so we can actually go out and put in the work required to then develop the skills. And when you invest into your mindset, into your psychology, into knowing yourself and understanding how you operate, and you also invest into developing skills, you can marry the two together and create any result you want. I told you guys about Joe Polish, and he's become a good friend and a mentor. And one of the lessons he taught me was the number one job of an entrepreneur is to go get a paycheck so you can make enough money to pay for all of the mistakes that you're going to make as you learn how to actually become a business owner and an entrepreneur. And I just love that because, again, no one is born with these skills. Anybody that you see online, offline, any business owner, anyone that you see that has created some level of success in their life, they started with no knowledge or no skills. And some of us, we have incredibly successful parents or uncles or loved ones, and they can instill those lessons upon us. And so we can learn them firsthand as we grow up. Others, like me, don't have that. I didn't have any model for success growing up. So I had to seek external sources. I had to go out and through this constant and never-ending pursuit of growth and education, I went out and I literally have self-taught myself everything I know about marketing and business and sales. And when I say self-taught, I feel like, yes, I was the one that went out and did it, but I've worked with and connected with and paid some of the smartest people in the world for ideas and inspiration and connection. And so we're never at it truly alone, even though oftentimes it really does feel like that. There's so many people that are out there as guides, as mentors that want to help us. And I think, maybe one of the biggest problems we have in life is we ask the wrong people for feedback or for advice. I know in my life, I'm at a point where I will only ever ask someone who knows the road ahead. You see, there's certain people that have been where you want to go. Right now, my business is doing a healthy 8 figures, and I want to take it to 9 figures. And so in order to do that, I know I need to elevate my level of executive leadership, my strategy, my ability to connect dots and see things clearly. I know I need to become the next version of myself. So I went out and I paid Patrick Bet-David $85,000 this year alone to elevate my psychology, to elevate my executive leadership and strategic thinking, and to learn how to solve problems better. And I hired him specifically because he's grown a company from 0 to hundreds of millions and sold it. So he knows the road ahead. My point here is we all have to start where we are. And now I'm in a position where I can make that level of investment back into myself. But when I got started, it was $50. $100 was a stressful decision. Most important principle of this investment, of investing into ourselves, is only investing into information from people that know the road ahead. You wouldn't ask your broke uncle who has never started a business in his life how to make money. And you wouldn't ask your friend who's overweight and sick and not well how to get in shape. We know this consciously, but so often we do ask people around us that we love and care about for their perspective and opinion on things. And I would suggest that that's a flawed idea if they don't know the road ahead. The people around us, they're there to support us, to love on us, for connection, for community. And we can hear their feedback, but at the end of the day, their feedback is a projection of their reality, not yours. And if they haven't created the results that you want, they're not going to be able to help you get where you're going. Rule number one of investing into yourself is only investing into people that know the road ahead and can help you bridge the gap. You see, there's only one shortcut in life, at least I know of. And I've talked to a lot of successful people, and I've asked them and I've heard from them. Only shortcut you'll ever have in life is this: going to someone who already knows the road ahead and paying them or asking them to show you the road. That's it. And that's how you collapse and condense decades into days. It's by simply going to someone who's already done what you're trying to do and hire them, pay them, befriend them, network with them, and ask them to help you get where you're going. The next part of this investment, right? If number one is like investing into the right people, the next part of this is getting around people that are on the same path as you. That's why I went to this marketing conference. It's called Blue Ribbon. I've been a part of it for 7 years. The conference itself, Ezra Firestone is the host of the conference. If you're in e-commerce, you know that name. He's a legend in the space. He's been doing it forever. He's built multiple 7- and 8-figure brands, very, very successful. And being in this group, being friends with him, being in proximity with Ezra has literally made me millions of dollars. Back in the early days when I was just getting started and I was doing the affiliate marketing, I had an affiliate manager who I spent time developing a relationship with, and it was mutually beneficial because if I made money, he made money. And so we got to know each other and he learned what I was doing and I asked him for advice. We were in proximity. And one day he's like, "Hey, Anthony, I really think you should run this particular offer, like advertise this one." And I looked at it and I was like, this shit sucks. Like, I'm not going to promote that. It doesn't make any sense for me. And I didn't do it. And a few days went by. He's like, "Hey, bro, did you test that offer yet?" I was like, "No, I haven't tested it yet." And he's like, "Dude, what are you waiting for? Do it. It'll work." And I was like, I don't think he's right. I don't believe in him. And I didn't quite understand this idea of knowing people that know the road ahead, like listening to them. He was working on a ton of accounts. He had done affiliate marketing for years. He knew better than I did at that point. My limiting beliefs were stopping me from seeing that next move. So long story short is he finally beat me over the head enough to do it. I promoted that one offer, and in like 2 hours, I made $10,000. And this was in the very beginning when $10,000 was in a month was still a lot of money to me. And the idea that it was just like, boom, in a few hours exploded what I thought was possible. The moral of the story here is one of the best lessons I've learned from Tony is proximity is power. And when I take a step back and I reflect on my business journey and all of the experiences and lessons and the breakthroughs that I've had, every big breakthrough, every leap in income, every unlock in what I was doing, I can trace it back to an individual person, insight, or connection. The stuff about Tony and unlocking my mind, I told you that story. The stuff about going to the Joe Polish event, that one marketing idea that made me go from literally making nothing over 18 months to $10,000 in 2 weeks. This one connection and relationship with my affiliate manager made me 10 grand overnight. There was another friend that I got to know through one of these mastermind conferences. I actually, to tie a bow and to give you guys an update on the Tony Robbins thing, right? So I downloaded all of his shit for free, but it was on loan. I told myself, I will pay this back one day. Well, I got to a place where I was making enough money and I had the privilege of joining his highest level coaching program. And I paid him $100,000 and bought every one of his programs and every one of his seminars at full price. One of the proudest moments of my life because that was like a full circle moment for me. I got to connect with other entrepreneurs that were in this community called Platinum Partnership that had all also paid about 100 grand to be there. Major investment. When I made it at the time, I didn't have 100 grand to invest. I had some money in the bank. I had some income coming in, but I didn't have 100 grand, right? That was a major stretch for me. That was a giant leap of faith. And in this process, the biggest growth moments, the biggest inflection points will be when they push you extremely far outside of your comfort zone and you have to step up to the moment. You have to rise. You have to meet the moment where it is. So at this event, at this mastermind program with Tony, right, I met multiple people. One guy was an options trader. We became friends. He's like, "Hey, you should make this trade. You should make this trade. You should make that trade." Made 50 grand in a couple of months just from advice that this guy gave me. Another guy that I met at the event, a few years ago, I received a a nice multi-million-dollar offer on my business. And I'd never gotten an offer like that before. I didn't know how to process it. So I called my buddy Aaron. Aaron, I met him at Platinum Partnership in the Mastermind group. And we had become really close. He's a mentor, a brother of mine. He's sold multiple businesses. I sent him the freaking LOI. Check this out, bro. What do you think? We strategized back and forth. And based on that feedback and that like back and forth with Aaron, I didn't take the deal. It was a bad deal. But I'll tell you what, for a novice like myself who didn't understand the nature of how deals like that work, to see a $8 or $9 million offer on a business that I started from scratch was like, holy shit, like this is incredible. But when you dig into the details and you ask a professional, someone who knows the road ahead, they're like, bro, this is a bad deal because of this, and this. I wouldn't take it if I were you. So we have to only connect with people, or not only, how do I say this? When we're investing into ourselves, we need to invest into people, conferences, groups, programs where people know the road ahead, where we can get into proximity and really start to build and invest into the relationships that we have. To me, I am where I am today. I've experienced the growth and the success and everything that my life is at this point is 100% because I took this idea of investing into myself and I went all the way in. I pushed myself. I invested before I had the money. I challenged myself. I got around other people. I created relationships with like-minded individuals and I invested into myself, and it's paid incredible dividend. I think I've calculated roughly over the last 12 years that I've been an entrepreneur, I've spent $500,000 on education, on investment, on courses and conferences. And I didn't have $500,000 to spend. It was like an extra 500 here, an extra 2,000 here, an extra 10,000 here. And it was like pulling profits and savings along the way. But I followed Joe's advice. He said, your number one job as an entrepreneur is to make enough money to pay for your mistakes and get an education so you can learn how to actually become an owner. That's the only thing I've ever done. That is my model of success. And that's why I believe without a shadow of a doubt, the number one investment you will ever make is in yourself. All right, so you're with me, you get it. You need to invest into yourself. But where do you start? Where do you go? When I first got started, as I said, I didn't have any idea. I didn't have any mentors, anybody to give me direction. So I just started going in all these directions. And that's why it took me 18 months to like figure things out. A lot of pain, a lot of just sleepless nights. So I think without a shadow of a doubt, the most important place for you to start is investing into your mindset, into your psychology, right? I told you the story about Tony and rules and beliefs. We have to start there. And there's a ton of amazing guys that can help you with that. Once you invest into your mindset, you really need to start developing the skills you need to bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to go, right? The results that you're not getting are on the other side of skills that you don't have. So we've got to get you to get some of those skills. I think the most important skill is communication, but you got to figure out what they are for you in your industry and with what you want to do. And then the third thing you need to invest in is your network. You need to get around people that are on a similar journey to you, that want to learn and grow, and that hopefully know the road ahead. But everybody needs a guide, right? When we get started, we don't know what we're doing. We have to have the humility to say, I don't fucking know. And then we have to humble ourselves enough to go and learn from people that do know the road ahead. I'll leave you guys with this. One of my favorite business mentors is a guy by the name of Keith Cunningham. One of my favorite books is The Road Less Stupid. And in there, he asks this question. He says, how much money would you have if you could undo all of your biggest financial mistakes? And to be honest with you, the decision for me, or the answer for me after 12 years in business, is multiple millions of dollars. I've paid the dumb tax to the tune of multiple millions of dollars. And I love that he calls it dumb tax, because it's literally implying that you don't have the knowledge, you are dumb, and you pay a tax. It's 100% in alignment with what we're talking about here. And so I just want to encourage you on your journey to make this commitment, to invest in yourself. Go all in. Push yourself outside of your comfort zone. Figure out who knows the road ahead for you. Invest into yourself. And I promise you, the results will be extraordinary. The payoff, the compound interest, the growth, it will impress you. It will blow you away, and it will help you build a life on your terms. Let me know what you guys think of this episode. In future episodes, we'll talk more about some specific mindset stuff that we can build and some specific skill stuff that we can build. But today, we just need to make the commitment to go all the fuck in on ourselves. I'll talk to you guys soon.